Welcome once again to our annual 2021 Candidate Interview Forum here in the Delray Beach Community Forum. I am Shaun, one of your admins here, and I'm happy you've tuned in tonight for, a great interview with a candidate running for, either a commission spot or our mayor position. So we're happy to have you here. We hope you enjoy the following interview. But beforehand, we want to take a second to thank our partners, Robes Law Group. They've stepped up and sponsored this interview series this year to allow us to bring you a much better quality product than we were able to bring you last year, while remaining within the COVID standards and regulations to keep all of this virtually. So to talk a little bit more about the community involvement and Robes Law Group, I'm going to bring in Tom Robes. Tom, good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Shaun. Great to see you, and thank you for allowing Robes Law Group to partner with the Delray Beach Community Forum for this important event. Here at Robes Law Group, we've helped out thousands of people throughout the years, either through our outreach, through our philanthropic endeavors, and just by helping people who've been injured in motor vehicle crashes and slip and falls and things of that nature. But one of the things that's always been important to us is making sure that our clients and other members of the community have accurate information and to make sure that they're well educated when they're making decisions with their claims. And so naturally, when this opportunity presented itself, we thought it would be great so that our local community can have accurate information, be well educated when they go ahead and cast their votes.
Thank you very much for that, Tom. And without further ado, let's get to tonight's interview. I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the Delray Beach Community Forum Annual Candidate Forum, where the candidates that are running for the commission seats answer your questions. Tonight I have my partner, Shaun Hall. Shaun is helping me moderate this year. Last year he was behind the camera, but because of COVID and our desire to keep everybody safe, we decided that we'll utilize technology to bring the forum to you, which now means Shaun can be one of the participants, which I'm excited about. Shaun, you want to give everybody a little bit of background on what we're going to be doing today?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we started doing with the Delray Beach Community Forum last year was we wanted to be able to present to you, our members and the community, our candidates in a different kind of environment than anybody else has offered thus far. And we hope we can bring you some very good questions tonight. All of our questions were submitted from you guys, our members. So we're really excited to be able to bring you, all of that good information. Tonight, we're honored to have Commissioner Ryan Boylston here. He's running for seat 3 for the Delray Beach City Commission. So we'll go ahead and bring him on.
Hey, there he is. Welcome, Ryan. So
this is official, huh? This is. I feel like I'm on a podcast, and then it had the supporting sponsor call out with Robes Law Group. This is great.
Yeah, we're getting better with age. We're improving as we go on with this experiment. So
we are moving on up into the world. So we are happy to have you.
Well, this is really cool because Greg Weiss, you and I go way back as far as servanthood in Delray Beach, doing all types of stuff. 10, 15 years back.
Yeah, we do.
And then Shaun, we've had a lot of fun these last few years with all that you're doing in the community and jumping on Delray Morning Live and stuff. So it's kind of neat to see you guys teaming up, and I'm excited to be here.
Cool. So the format's pretty simple. You'll give an opening statement. It's not timed. Just do your thing. Then we'll have 4 questions that Shaun and I will alternate, and you'll have a closing statement, and we'll just kind of wrap it up and see where it goes.
All right. I like that. I like the casual approach. So for those of you that don't know me, I am your vice mayor here in Delray Beach. I'm just finishing my first term, and I'm running for re-election. I started serving in Delray Beach on the Pineapple Grove Arts District Board. That's a board that all you have to do is raise your hand, and you are on the board. That's all it takes. And I chose to do that because growing up in Pompano and Boca Raton, I only came to Delray Beach once a year for the Gladiola Festival, or how we know it now, the Delray Affair. And I was so surprised when I came back from college with my fiance, now wife, and that we were going to move to Delray Beach. I'm like, what happened to Delray Beach in the late 90s and 2000s that this is now the place we want to move, and not only move as young 20-somethings, but where we wanted to raise a family. And that had a lot to do with the community standing up and rebuilding the downtown and having a vision. And so once I learned all about that, I was like, well, if I'm going to live here, right, I'm going to live here in this village, I got to give back too. So I started off with the Pineapple Grove Arts District Board. It's a great board. Cecilia Boone, Gene Fisher, David Beal, Rich McGloin, and the late Bob Curry. They were all mentors of mine because I think at that time I was joining a board at, I don't know, maybe 20, 24, 25 years old. And it was a blast, and I really enjoyed it. And then one thing led to another. I was asked to sit on an old school square charrette. That's where I met Connor Lynch and Craig Spodak. Then I was asked to sit on committees with the chamber and meet individuals like yourself, Greg. And then one thing just kind of led to another. And then I was on the Downtown Development Authority for 6 years. In my opinion, the best run organization in the city. And as a city commissioner and CRA board member, I hope to get both those organizations right up to their level. And Laura Simon runs a great ship there. So after spending 6 years on the Downtown Development Authority, ending as the chair, I decided to run for city commission. I ran against Mitch Katz and unseated him as an incumbent, and he's running against me this year as well. If you follow me, you know that I'm super passionate about our youth. I'm passionate about affordable housing and education, and just the overall village vibe of taking care of one another. I think collaboration is key, and we see the amazing stories. You guys are part of some of the amazing stories that are happening in Delray Beach every day. And I want that to really be our brand from the top, not just from the street. So that's my goal. And I'm sure we're going to dive into a few topics here, and anything I didn't cover, I'll catch you on the flip side of this discussion.
Awesome. We appreciate it. Okay, so the first question is a two-part question, and it goes right into the heart of matters and has to do with economic development. Mm-hmm. So the part A, I'm going to ask part A, then I'll give you a chance to answer that, and then we'll go into part B because they kind of flow into each other. Mm-hmm. So economic development, while a broad term, is as important now to Delray Beach as it's ever been. Now, the part A is, do you believe that Delray Beach should have a full-time economic development director who is dedicated to assessing Delray's current economic strengths and weaknesses?
150%. And I've said it from the dais many times. As a matter of fact, I made the motion for the CRA not to fund half that position, so it wasn't a split position between spending half of its time with the CRA area and half of its time with the city. The economic development position should be taking care of the entire city. I've also made the statement that a good one answers phone calls, a great one makes phone calls, and that's what we need. We need a great economic director, and Boca has a great one, and we have phenomenal partners like the Economic Development Council and the BDB that we need to reach out and we need to have a stronger relationship with. And really mend the fences with our Chamber of Commerce. There's been some friction there with past commissioners, including, my opponent, and we need to leverage those partnerships because together we could really put Delray Beach on the map. Because here's the thing: if you don't go out and target certain businesses and certain jobs, well, then you just get what you get, and that might not be an industry that's right for your city. And one of the ones that I've been doing a lot of research on are these distribution centers. Now, you could get lucky and you get one of the Amazon ones. But the other day, I ordered something from Target, which was outsourced to a distribution company, which was outsourced to a trucking company, which was outsourced to a truck driving company, right? So now we're 4 levels away from the quality brand of Target and the quality of experience that I did not have when my mailbox got run over. So those are the type of industries that will come into your space if you're not out there actively hunting for what you want to be in your city.
Yeah, and we do have quite a bit of space available. If you look along the Congress corridor and some of the other areas of the city that are still relatively underdeveloped and really haven't been utilized to the extent that they could be.
Well, I'm really excited about the Congress corridor. I reference the Congress master plan quite often, our next great street. And we were able to approve a mixed-use project at the old Office Depot site that I'm really excited about. And so that's at the south end. And then at the north end, we're bringing in a little bit of mixed use, but more housing and workforce housing, which is really important for me, one of my top subjects. We've set the record in the last 3 years of approving the most affordable and workforce housing in any 3-year period in Delray Beach's history. West Palm Beach just set their goal of 200 in the next few years. We already eclipsed that during my time here, which is pretty phenomenal. But we need the jobs. Right? We need the quality jobs in between. And let me take it a step further. We need to make sure that we're training our youth in our city to take advantage of those quality jobs, right? To go get those jobs. And that's why I'm so proud to sit with Dr. Deborah Robinson on her committee for the Delray Full Service Center, which is our adult education program that's run out of the old Carver High School. And we have a new 20,000 square foot facility coming. And there, as a committee, we identified the top 3 biggest needs as far as industries go, looking out 10 years, leveraging data from our partner, Palm Beach State College. And then once we identified what those needs were, we took the top 3 highest paying sectors, and those are going to be the first 3 programs there. So it was between HVAC and electrical engineering. We got a grant for the HVAC program there. So that's going to take priority, and electrical engineering will follow in the future, probably when we add on to that 20,000 square feet. Then you're going to have mechanical, automotive mechanical, which is great because we can place these students in jobs ASAP with just 1 or 2 major certifications with all of our automotive dealers in the area. And then the last one is going to be the CDL license, which they'll do the classroom here in Delray Beach, and then they'll actually learn to drive the truck in Palm Beach County. Fun fact: if you are a female and looking into that trucking industry, there's opportunities for signing bonus for your education to be taken care of, and you'll probably start around $60,000 a year.
That's incredible, actually. Well, we appreciate all the work you put into that. So the second part of that question is, do you believe Delray Beach needs a comprehensive economic development plan that encompasses short-term, intermediate-term, and long-term actionable economic development goals?
You know what? That's a really great question. That's not one I've gotten this year. So we have a lot of plans that we need to put into motion, and a lot of them touch on economic development. Specifically, our Always Delray comprehensive plan. There's a lot of great things in that plan, and we literally just adopted it and got it across the finish line. So I don't think we need an additional plan. If we're looking for additional data or information, we need to reach out to the Florida Chamber of Commerce, who just did a presentation here in Delray Beach, had a lot of great data, and reach out to our partners at the BDB, the Business Development Board, and leverage their data and their reports. I don't think there's any reason to reinvent the wheel and delay anything for another study or another plan. But this is the decision for an economic development director to make. It's not a decision for a city commission to make. And if they found that was a need here in Delray Beach, then obviously I would be supportive.
Oh, it's a very valid point there. So Shaun, ready for question number 2?
We are ready for question number 2. Ryan, thank you for your answers thus far. The second question is going to center around infrastructure. So Delray is facing a litany of infrastructure issues. The big 3 that our members had brought up to us were water quality, rising sea levels among the barrier island and intracoastal, and the aging underground utility system. If reelected, how would you address those issues for the community?
Well, we have to come at it from a few different angles. So one, we have to plan and be fiscally responsible with our budget. But some of these items are very high numbers, right? So let's take sea level rise. We got our assessment done. It's looking at $350 to $400 million, and that number goes up every year just because of the cost of construction. It goes up every year. And we're not the only city, demanding these types of services. So that drives the cost up as well. So although we can plan for that, and maybe even the possibility of going out for a geo bond to address some of these issues internally, what we really need to do is we need to leverage state funds. And in order to do that, we're going to have to build relationships. And that's really what I've been working on. I was really disappointed to go up to Tallahassee for Palm Beach Days and find that we didn't have a lot of strong relationships up there. Mayor Glickstein did a good job of building relationships in regards to the sober home topic. But beyond that topic, we hadn't built that relationship. And what I have found, and you're seeing it in this election, is the partisan, topic at play. I'm an MPA. For those of you that don't know, I don't affiliate with any party, and I think that's really important in a nonpartisan seat like a city commissioner, because I'm able to go up to Tallahassee and I'll sit with Democrats and I'll sit with the Republicans and all of our representatives and work for dollars for Delray Beach. So that's really important. I came back from my second visit in Tallahassee, where I made my own agenda rather than following around the agenda of Palm Beach days. And I got to sit with the Speaker of the House and the next Speaker of the House and got a few minutes with each of them, and came back with a plan that I asked our lobbyists to put together, which laid the foundation for our legislative packet, which we'll be taking with us up to Tallahassee this year, although we might not physically go to Tallahassee. That's what we're utilizing as a guide to bringing funds home for Delray Beach. The last part, which is very much in our hands and we're able to control, is leveraging the CRA dollars to take care of infrastructure throughout the CRA district. And you're seeing that all through the Northwest and Southwest. You drive through the neighborhood, and then you'll see it in Osceola Park as well, where we're spending $10 million in infrastructure there. That project was delayed for a very long time, and I had to fight for it. And I think the vote was 4-3 on the CRA, so it almost got delayed again. I'm very, very proud of that project. The residents of Osceola County have waited. Osceola County. I used to live in Osceola County when I was in college. Of Osceola Park have been more than patient, and I'm really excited about that. So it's kind of a three-pronged approach to the infrastructure.
Okay, so I think we are on to number 3, and this is a touchy one, but we've had a number of people requesting this to be addressed, and we feel it's our duty, as a community group to get it out there. So the question is, there's empirical evidence of continued racial disparity in education and opportunity in Delray Beach. If elected, what would you do to remedy this?
Well, that's obviously very clear, and it's been a top subject across our country. The number one thing that I fought for over these last 3 years was the Set Transformation Plan, or also known as the West Atlantic Redevelopment Plan, Comprehensive West Atlantic Redevelopment Plan Update. I think it ended up with a very long name. I refer to it as Set Transformation Plan. And that was an adjustment to the plan that the CRA has been using for a long time. And the adjustment was to start addressing systemic racism and certain policies that are in place in our city that remove the opportunity or don't provide the opportunity for community wealth building. And this is really important, because what we found is with these CRA plans, or many city plans for different neighborhoods, is that they lead to gentrification. A lot of investment in sidewalks and community centers and lights and streets. And the next thing you know, that neighborhood, what happens with the home value, right? The home value goes up. And the family that's in that home sees that they can sell their home and make maybe the most money they've ever made. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the most money I've ever made in a year, my wife and I, was when we sold a home, right? So that looks like something they would gravitate towards. Wow, we can make $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 if we sell our home. And that's the way a community starts to naturally gentrify. So how do we stop that from happening? Well, the Set Transformation Plan is a community wealth building plan that says, yes, we're gonna invest in concrete, right? We're gonna invest in concrete, but we're also gonna invest in people, in policies, in businesses. And when we build affordable homes, we're gonna give the opportunity to be able to own those homes and build wealth in their family. So I use this example. If a family is living in a home, all right, and we start to elevate the area around them, the physical environment around them, and they could cash out and move out and start the gentrification process. They may think twice if the wife's business is within walking distance, right on Fifth. And the way she was able to open her business is because the CRA had grant grant packages for her, grant opportunities, and she got to open her own business. And well, she's not going to move. She loves walking to work every day, right? If the husband maybe has a job at a fantastic company nearby, maybe that company is called the City of Delray Beach, where he makes a good wage and he has a quality job and he's treated right, and he's proud of what he does every single day in his community that he lives in. And what about the kids? What about if the kids aren't being driven 30 minutes away to go to a better school, but they are going to the school that's right down the street, right in their neighborhood? If that's the case, and we elevate the people in the homes, the family in the homes with the community, then you might not cash out, right? You may stay and you may continue to elevate the community with the city, with the CRA's investment in people, not just in infrastructure. So that's what I've been working on. That's a really big subject. There's many other things that we need to tackle. One of the life-changing moments I've had sitting on the city commission is that I did get the opportunity 2 years ago to go through the Racial Equity Institute workshop. My wife and I actually got to go through it together. I highly recommend it, one for anybody. But if you are in public service, if you are a teacher, if you are a police officer, if you work in a hospital, and you're here in this diverse environment that we call home here in Florida, I highly recommend that 2-day workshop. It will open your eyes. It'll change your lens. Right here, my wife and I had a list after the murder of George Floyd of 75 things that us as a white privileged community can do. And that was on our side of our refrigerator all the way up until Christmas as we made our way through about 70 of the 75 items. These are the type of things we need to talk about more. We have a speaker series coming up from the CRA. And then after the speaker series, hopefully the world starts to open up a little bit more, travel starts to open up, and we're going to start providing Racial Equity Institute workshops paid for by the CRA for the community. And then I'm hoping the city is going to follow by starting to invest in REI workshops for our police, our fire, and our city staff.
Wow, that's a lot to put on a plate. I know it's not an easy question to answer, but I think you addressed it well, and we have a long way to go, but I think we're definitely on the right track, and I like your vision. So
we are on the right track. I mean, we've had the community policing for a very long time. So look how we handled that. Look how other cities handled. Look how Delray Beach handled it. Right? We knew what to do. Right? We had vigils. We had marches. Right? And they were. Man, there was a lot of mixed emotions, in those crowds, and a lot of, frustration is not the word. Yet they were kept positive. They were kept constructive. Conversations, happened in that march, after that march, and so you're right. You're right. Delray Beach is situated better than most, but boy, do we got a long way to go. And that long way to go is less about in our community, but more about at that top. Right. And for me, as elected official, I'm about giving power, not taking power away. Right. So ensuring that we have these boards that we look to, right. Seeing that we have an independent CRA board and not one that the commission fully controls. These are the things that we have to do, because we can't just think that we can swoop in and save the day and that's going to have lasting impact. It's just not the way it works.
No, fair enough. So, Shaun, you got one more question before we go into Ryan's closing remarks?
Absolutely. Obviously, having witnessed or been in attendance at most of the forums that you guys have put on thus far, and hearing all of the information and all of the really hard-hitting questions, I wanted to give you an opportunity as a candidate, because I don't think this has been done enough thus far, just to tell us what's your favorite thing about Delray Beach.
That's a tough one.
Oh, man. It kind of gave me like goosebumps a little bit. So my favorite thing about Delray Beach is, and I talk about this a lot, and we hear Village by the Sea so often, but when you hear it referred to, it's usually talking about the height of a building. And what I have learned living here for now 15 years is that it's about how we treat each other. It's how we take care of each other. We just showed it in the pandemic. Right? We have this world, and thank you guys for having one of those rare forums on Facebook that is well policed and sets some guidelines, right, on positive, constructive conversations. But we have this whole other world on Facebook, right? And it's all about ripping people down, right? Rather than working together and building people up. And I think I said that the other night. And I also said it when I was on stage for the Inspirational Leader of the Year Award for our Delray Beach Chamber Hero Award ceremony. A lot of us went out into the world during this pandemic and started picking people up, right? And feeding them and supporting our businesses. Individuals like, John Brewer or Colson Zumar and Jennifer Jones in the Haitian community. I mean, the things they were doing. And guess what? Some of these people doing these things, most of them weren't on Facebook, right? They were out in the community, and we'll never see the video, we'll never see the photo, but they were out there every single day. And that's my favorite part of Delray Beach. Walking into a room in Delray Beach and seeing real Delray, not just walking into, let's say, a restaurant on Atlantic Avenue. You might not get a good image of real Delray. I'm in so many rooms where I get to experience real Delray. And guess who else is? My family, right? I have a wife that is a teacher in our public school system. She's at Plumosa Elementary School. She's up for the Dwyer Award for the third time, which is incredible. And I'm just so incredibly proud to be her husband. My son went to Plumosa Elementary School. He's now at Bach, a public school, and he takes a tri-rail. He takes public transportation every day. And then I have my girls here at home at 3 or 4. And every week we are in the community, and not because I'm a commissioner and not because I'm running a campaign, because that's the best part about Delray Beach. And if you're not enjoying that aspect, you're missing out on how special our city is.
That's so true. I can tell you, after working with you for a lot of years and other commissioners and many community leaders and stakeholders, there is a whole undercurrent in this town that was brought to the surface this year through the pandemic, or last year, excuse me. And it really did bring out the best of everybody. You know what? Through all the noise and all the BS that we get on Facebook and other social media platforms, at the end of the day, we come together and we take care of each other. And that just feeds my heart. And I was so happy to have Shaun as a partner this year for Florida COVID Response Fund, where we helped a lot of families that were food insecure in Delray Beach, and we saved quite a number of families from eviction. And it wasn't just us; it was all the people you mentioned, John and Deborah Tendrick, and that's what a village is. It's not about height, it's not about buildings, it's not about density. It's about the people helping and lifting up the community together.
And everything that you and I have done, Greg, has been we've worked with those amazing people in the community. We've worked with, Delray Beach, I think, maybe I'm biased, but I think Delray Beach has some of the best and most quality nonprofits in the entire area. Absolutely. I think our community especially goes above and beyond for those that are in need, unlike anything I've ever seen before anywhere else. So I think that speaks to the community nature that we've got here in the city.
And what's super special about those nonprofits is you're you've always seen, but now we're starting to see even more of it, is this. They're not in their silos. They're not, those are my donors, those are my volunteers. No. They're all working together. You have the EJS kids that are being mentored, and they're also out planting trees with community greening. We're starting to see a lot more of that collaboration. Our Parks and Rec getting together with Old School Square for a series and a book by the library and putting it out. It's just really incredible. And I'm very lucky in that I get to host Delray Morning Live, and so every single Wednesday, if I've even forgotten for a second how great Delray Beach is, I'm reminded every Wednesday. And tomorrow I'm actually going to have Dupree from EJS is going to be on the show. And I, every time I talk to him, I'm just inspired more and I'm filled up. So all of that is my favorite part about Delray Beach and proper ice creams, plant-based chocolate ice cream. It is just so good.
Everything they do there is amazing.
I got to tell you, they're opening up their second location in that other town next to us. But I got to tell you, my first time ever proper, just I guess right before the pandemic, just blew me away. I've never had ice cream quite like that, and I still love Sloan's. Nothing against my buddies at Sloan's, but man, that was some good ice cream. No doubt.
Yeah.
So we're coming towards the end of the interview, and this is in your closing statement. You can be traditional with it. You can go off on a different avenue. It's really just your what you want to get out to our 13,000 plus members.
Well, that's funny you say that. I could be traditional with it or whatever. Obviously, I've been doing closing statements every other day. How about this? I just want to say, off the top of my head, I just want to say, thank you to some community members. I mean, Peter Arts over at the DDA, he took over his chair for me after I left, and obviously he's going through some challenging times with our downtown. Nicholas Coppola and Yvonne Odom, who have guided me on some very important topics, and we're working on some some great projects together. Colson Zumar, Jennifer Jones, in the Haitian community, this community has really changed my life and introduced me to a whole nother world that I'm so excited about. They actually made me an honorary Haitian about a year ago. And I fall more and more in love with that aspect of our community. What Rick Burgess is doing over at Delray, Dealers Pro Choice, and the people that he's employing and the people that he's mentoring there. The late Bob Curry and Gene Fisher and David Beal and Cecilia Boone from Pineapple Grove for mentoring me. Craig Spodak, John Brewer, and Sarah Selznick, Kristen Cox, the people that I can call on the phone, Angela Burns, and ask a question, sometimes a really tough question about whether it's race disparity or systemic racism or reaching out to Jay Alperin, Mayor Alperin, or Mayor Schmidt or Perlman or Carney and asking them, well, why did we build that? And how did we build that? And give me some history on that. So that's really what I want to say is just thank you. These last 3 years, I couldn't have done this job without all of you. It is a challenge, right? It wears you. It wears you down. Some people wear you down more than others. You take away time from your family, as an elected official, as a public servant, as a servant in any way. We all take time away from our family, take time away from our business. Greg, for me to take this job, I had to fire like a dozen clients. I used to do work with the Delray Beach Library. I used to do the design for the 100-foot Christmas tree. I used to donate a lot of work to these organizations in our city, and I had to stop working with them on that level so that I can work with them at a whole nother level. So that's it. It's thank you. If I can have any closing, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Delray.
That's good. I think that's very, very fitting. Shaun, do you have anything else you want to add to the mix before we say goodbye to Ryan?
No, I mean, I appreciate you coming on, Ryan, and talking to us and giving us the opportunity to ask you some of the questions from our members who, probably aren't watching a lot of the other forums, or they can't make it live somewhere, or they're social distancing and can't, try to get the information themselves. I know you and a couple of the other candidates have been doing neighborhood meet and greets, which I think is amazing. It's a great idea. So yeah, we want to thank you for coming on and taking time away from your wife and your family to be able to speak to us is just super, super awesome.
They've all been tiptoeing around. So, while I've been on the phone here, I don't have a home office. I'm here working at the dining room table, and my food's getting cold over there. So, okay. Hey, thank you guys so much. Hopefully they didn't hear me say the word ice cream, and maybe I dodged that bullet. But Greg, you probably still have to take Shaun out for ice cream. No, sorry, buddy.
100%. Yeah, that's gonna happen. So
take care, Ryan. Thanks again for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
See you guys.